Hello, my name is Sylvester. This is the third time I've tried to make this because I'm probably a bit of a perfectionist. Well, not perfectionist, but I'm not satisfied. I want the film not to be too long. I'm talking about disability because I watched a lot of YouTube films last night about disabilities, and even led me to a website where people who are disabled and gay are trying to meet each other because they're lonely. And being disabled myself, I understand this completely. Our disabilities are different. No two people can probably say that disabilities are perfectly the same. I'll spell mine out, HIV positive, and that's not so bad. That's controlled to the point of being undetectable, which really means it's difficult for me to transmit that anymore. But I also have hepatitis B, and there's a vaccine for that, by the way, but I didn't know about it in the 80s when I could have had it. And that flared up, so I have liver disease, which is controlled by part of the HIV drugs I take, and that's also at a level where it's not transmissible. So those things are stable. I could come down with cancer because I don't have that many CD4 T cells, we would say, but that's life, right? Other disabilities, they're probably more interesting in the sense that they explain the other two. Bipolar, but not very much bipolar. A lot of psychiatrists would not say I'm bipolar. My psychiatrist is not sure, and she's been observing me for 11 years because I don't really fit any diagnosis completely, which is, I think, expected. I don't really fall for the diagnoses unless they're profound and clear, and we can test them scientifically. There's no blood test for bipolar disorder. I am also called borderline, and I got called borderline because I was attempting suicide. And I was attempting suicide because my life was miserable. When you find yourself gay, and well, at that time I left a relationship that was stormy and wonderful, and I didn't handle it appropriately, in the sense that I got too emotionally worked up over it, and I couldn't repair the relationship. I couldn't find the person. I still couldn't find the person if I wanted to, and that caused me a lot of trouble. And then they decided I was borderline, unlike other types of borderline, because there are many types. It's a dreadful thing to be called, and it's something like ending up in a wheelchair, because there are a lot of people who just don't want to be around you when you are called that. And in that sense, I understand what it's like to be alien, to be isolated. Those things, those labels that we get stick. I can hide mine better than some people can hide their disadvantages or disabilities, not abilities, not advantages. And there are so many things in life that we could put in that category. Consider the color of my skin. Okay, and that I am male. Those are two advantages in this society, and I'm able to walk into a lot of places, especially if I trim my beard and cut my hair some, which needs to be combed as it's drying. Yes, I have those advantages, and I know it. And so some places are easier for me than they would be for some other people. And I know this because I know a lot of people, and I've seen the world enough to know. It's very sad. Now, I don't have the advantage because I'm very poor. I'm on disability, and I have practically no money. And so I know what it's like to be poor, and that's a disability in itself. It makes you not able to do so many things. And that's enough on that part of it. Other things I can pass for if I need to, I can pass as straight. It's a hateful thing, actually, because it would be a lot more fun just to be gay all the time. And I don't think about it as much anymore because I'm not sexual, which is why I think I understand and I empathize with those who are sad, those who are like seriously disabled in physical ways or emotional ways, and they're not able to connect with another human being, and they don't have intimacy. I know what that feels like now, and I know what the difference feels like because I used to be very sexual and had lots of partners, and I've had that history, and so I know what it's like to be one and then to be the other. And it's not always easy, but it's in some ways very, very pleasant to just be alone and calling the shots. I would like to mention that I have friends. I have two friends and a dog. The dog does not stay with me. The dog stays with my friends. And so we share the dog because she can't stay here in my small apartment. She hates it here, unfortunately. So I share the dog with my friends. My friends are both disabled in their way. One is elderly, we would say. I don't think he's that old, but he's 70, he's over 70. And he has a heart condition, that's his disability. Then we could argue that he has others, but that's not for now. And then my other friend, who came to New York, where I live, and he came to be near me, and he's disabled. He has, well, he's called paranoid schizophrenic. Who knows what he really has, but that's what they call it. Well, that's a very limiting and isolating disability. And the things people say about him or think about him and the things that happen to him in his life are very hard to grapple with and look at it in a positive light. He's had a rough time. And I think I wanted to make this point, that YouTube is a place where you can actually make friends. We had an intimate relationship that was short-lived, and it was better that we made it friendship. Better for both of us. And that's fine. But it could have gone either way, and I think it's important to know that you can use YouTube as a way to meet people with the idea of intimacy. And this I'm saying for those of you who are disabled, especially those I followed a lot of fellas who were speaking from wheelchairs, who spoke at times with a tremor in their voice because the isolation was obviously at times unbearable, and what they had to talk about on camera was uncomfortable and probably more disclosure than 99% of you would ever make. Having been a person myself who's disclosed too much on camera and pulled it off, that would be on the borderline spectrum, because it causes me pain to reveal too much for too long, but I can do it for short stints. I understand how hard it is to sit in front of a camera and say to somebody like this, which is say I don't feel very attractive. And while that may be always, that may not always be true, some days I may feel okay, some days I feel like staying in. Those things are hard to say on camera, and I understand for those others who have said it what that means. There is hope for everyone, because there are people, at least like me, who believe that there is no such thing as an ugly person, and that would include me, since I try to keep a logical mind, at least intellectually, so I'm not really ugly. I just sometimes feel unattractive. Now, there is that. People can be less attractive and more attractive, and that's evident. But what people do to be attractive is sometimes extreme. So there's all kind of gradient, many areas of shading. Best of luck with everyone in their search to find friends. I would put not too much faith in the camera and the YouTube and all that, and I would use writing, blogging, and joining support groups and becoming active and supporting others as a way to find support for yourself. That has worked for me in the past. And I'll close with saying I don't think that internet is as effective as real-time, real-face, being in the same room with somebody else. That interaction. And if you can work it out, find a way to maximize your chances of meeting people like yourself by moving somewhere crowded. That's why so many gay people, gay, lesbian, transgender, etc., people move to big cities like this one, New York, because it maximizes our chances in so many ways and makes life a lot easier than it could have been someplace else. You can get tired of the city and all the problems it brings, but when you really think about it, and when I see people other places, and I think, oh, if they would just come to New York, they would. There's so much here for them. I remember that there is such thing, and there's something to be said in the adage, says safety in numbers. Peace to all of you, and good luck in your searches.